Rumi, why love is not what you think it is. The wound is where the light enters you. These ancient words echo across centuries, carrying a truth many feel but few grasp. We walk through life, each step a testament to spirit, yet often we carry an invisible weight, a quiet ache, a persistent longing. It is a wound not of flesh, but of the soul, a tender spot where expectation met reality, where desire confronted absence. We strive for connection, for belonging, for a love promising to mend all fractures, to fill every void. In this striving, we often find ourselves adrift, bewildered by the very force we seek. We are taught to pursue love, to chase it across continents, to build lives around its fragile promise. We imagine it as a destination, a prize, a state of perpetual bliss. Yet how often does this pursuit lead to entanglement, to a deeper sense of separation? How often does what we call love reflect our own unmet needs, our profound thirst? We pour hearts into relationships, into dreams of perfect union, only to discover the outer world rarely conforms to inner ideals. This is not judgment, but an observation of human condition, a shared vulnerability that binds us. Consider moments your heart felt most exposed, most bruised. Was it not then, in the raw aftermath of disappointment or loss, that a different awareness began to stir? A hesitant flicker, suggesting true connection might lie not in avoiding broken places, but in understanding them. We often believe healing means sealing the wound, erasing hurt. But what if the wound itself is not a flaw, but an opening? What if, in its vulnerability, it holds a secret, a gateway to a deeper, more profound light? This journey is not about quick answers. It is an invitation to pause, to breathe, to listen to the silent language of your own heart. It is about questioning the very foundations of what we've been told about love, ourselves, and the world. We've been conditioned to seek external validation, to define our worth by another's gaze, to equate love with possession or fleeting euphoria. But what if love, in its purest form, transcends these narrow definitions? What if it is not something to be acquired, but something to be remembered, an inherent state of being obscured by layers of fear, expectation, and the world's relentless noise? This is the whisper of Rumi, the ancient poet whose words resonate with urgent, timeless wisdom. He doesn't offer a map to hidden treasure, but invites you to look within, to perceive the treasure that has always resided there. He speaks of a love that is not merely an emotion, but a force, a fire that purifies, a mirror that reveals. He speaks of pain not as an adversary, but as a guide, a necessary friction that polishes the soul. And he speaks of the ego not as an enemy, but as a veil that once understood can be gently lifted. So, let us begin this quiet exploration, not to find something new, but to recognize what has always been present. Approach this inquiry with a soft heart, an open mind, allowing words to settle like dew on your inner landscape. For what we seek is not a philosophy to be dissected, but an experience to be felt, a truth to be embodied. It is a path asking us to surrender preconceived notions, to step into the unknown territories of our own being, and to discover why love, in its truest essence, is profoundly different from what we've been taught to believe. This is a journey into the heart of longing itself, not to escape it, but to understand its sacred purpose. Beyond the surface of emotion, beyond the fleeting thrill of romantic attachment, lies a profound philosophical understanding of love, one that transcends mere human experience and touches the very essence of existence. This deeper concept posits love not as something we feel for another, but as the fundamental fabric of reality itself, an intrinsic unifying force that binds all things. It suggests that love is not an attribute we acquire, but rather the underlying state from which all phenomena emerge, a silent resonance within the cosmos. Consider this perspective. Rather than an emotion that comes and goes, love is the very current flowing through all creation. The invisible magnetism that draws atoms together, that orchestrates the dance of galaxies, and that propels every living thing towards growth and connection. It is the primordial energy that preceded form, and the ultimate destination towards which all forms yearn to return. This is a love that is impersonal in its scope, yet intensely intimate in its manifestation. It is the silent symphony played out in every breath, every sunrise, every blossoming flower. Consequently, to understand love in this context is to shift our focus from seeking it externally to recognizing its omnipresence, its fundamental dwelling within the core of our own being. However, recognizing this universal love often requires a profound transformation of the individual self. If love is this boundless, all-encompassing reality, then the conventional I, with its distinct desires, its carefully constructed identity, its fears of dissolution, can act as a significant barrier to its experience. This is where the concept of the ego as a veil becomes crucial. The ego, in this philosophical framework, is not inherently malicious but merely a construct, a collection of memories, beliefs, and attachments that create a sense of separate individuality. This separation, while necessary for navigating the material world, can obscure the deeper truth of our interconnectedness, our inherent unity with the greater current of love. To truly merge with this expansive love, therefore, often entails a process of conscious surrender, a willingness to let go of the tightly held reins of the ego. It is not about self-destruction, but rather a dissolution of the illusion of separateness. Imagine a drop of water merging with the ocean. It doesn't cease to exist, but expands its identity, becoming infinitely larger than its individual form. Similarly, when the ego begins to soften, to dissolve its rigid boundaries, the individual self doesn't vanish, but rather expands into a vastness, experiencing itself as an integral part of the boundless ocean of love. This is a profound reorientation of identity, a shift from being a container holding love to becoming an expression of love itself. To live from this place is to walk a path of profound authenticity. It means recognizing that every encounter, every challenge, every moment of joy or sorrow is an invitation to deepen this remembrance. It is to perceive the divine spark not only in the grand and the beautiful, but in the mundane, the broken, and the overlooked. The ego, once a formidable gatekeeper, transforms into a humble servant, allowing the light of true self to shine through its translucent form. This transformation is not a single event, but an ongoing dance, a continuous turning towards the inner sanctuary, allowing the fire of love to purify and illuminate every shadow. So, let this inquiry linger, not as a burden, but as a gentle guide. Allow these reflections to settle within you, not as intellectual concepts, but as resonant truths that your soul already recognizes. The true practice begins now, in the quiet moments of your day, in the way you breathe, the way you observe, the way you connect. It is in the willingness to remain open, even when it feels vulnerable, to trust the wisdom of your own heart, and to remember that you are not lost. You are simply returning. You are returning to the source, to the boundless love that is your true nature, forever echoing the ancient whisper, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." If this reflection touched your heart, subscribe and keep walking this path with me.